who struggles with the painful task of Momo payment because he has an issue. Because of this issue, we enabled this technology, resulting in him being able to do A, B, and C. So I want you to pay attention to this first slide. If the technology that you are suggesting or what you are bringing on board, if it is not solving a problem that has inclusive design in mind, has trust and security inbuilt, and then operationally it is reliable, and then it is ecosystem friendly where you can scale it, I think you have a problem. I don't think your solution will win. And if you are not able to answer this, or you are not able to fill in the blanks or these yellow blanks in this sentence, I don't think you have the winning solution. Does anyone have any question on this slide before I move to the next slide? I'm not going to be able to see your hand, so maybe you can just speak. Okay, no question.
Hello.
Yeah, go back. Yeah, go ahead. Please, who is speaking?
Yeah, it's Kwabena.
Yeah, Kwabena, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to know if what really goes into the trust and security. Are there any specific standards? What metrics are we, taking
have
our
asked.
solutions against?
All right. So, you guys are developing tools and softwares and maybe apps, right? And then, for every developer, for every app, one of the things that we in security, right? One of the things that we try and encourage every developer to do is that we encourage every developer to do secure or security by design, which means that even before you begin development, include security in your development process. So for instance, your coding, right? Even before you start the coding, from the requirement analysis stage, where you are gathering the requirements for the problem or for the to solve the problem, you have to include security there. You have to include zero trust architecture in there. For instance, if you are going to do any authentication, if you are going to do any, data transfer, it means you have to have security measures for data in transit, data at rest, and then data in archive. If you are building the app, it means you have to benchmark it against the OAuth top 10. You have to be able to benchmark your app security against the CIS standard. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, Kobra.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yes, and then
Thank
when we
you.
are talking about trust here, now in the world of technology, where trust comes in is more about the security of their data. So can they trust you with their data that you are not going to do marketing with their data? Can they trust you with their data in the sense that you are not going to disclose confidential information? For instance, I work in MTN, and one of the things that we have to make sure that our customers get is that they should be able to trust us that the calls are not being divulged to other parties. They should be able to trust that their Momo account and balances are not being divulged to other parties. That trust has to be there. They have to be able to rely on your brand. So that's a trust and security. You see, this 5 boxes that you are seeing here, if you look at it critically, if your product or your technology answers all these questions reliably, then you have a winning solution that you can sell and scale, given the context which you are in. Now, let me backtrack a bit. Some of you, or sometimes when IT professionals or problem solvers, let me call us that name, when we are trying to bring out technologies and systems, what we try and do is that we try and imagine the ideal situation. But then the truth of the matter is that Ghana is nowhere near the ideal situation. Google Maps still struggle in Ghana. So if you are using the Google Maps API, then you definitely know that there are some areas you can't cover. Some of the APIs that we use for payment systems and all those things, they still struggle. For now, what we can do is mobile money payment. So if you are making any payment technology or any technology with payment back anything on it means you have to be able to rely on the mobile money ecosystem that we currently have in Ghana. Mobile phone penetration in Ghana is good in Accra, but it is not that good in other areas. So it means that when you are building your apps and all those things, you don't have to only look at building the apps to be able to sit on the Android ecosystem. You have to be able to look at USSD technologies as well and functionalities of phones that have lower grade. If you are building an app or you are building any service or anything, you also have to think about connectivity. Currently in Ghana, not everywhere has 4G. The best that you can get is 2G and 3G. So it means your app's reliability, the latency, everything that you are doing when it comes to operational reality, it means that you must be able to connect even in areas that have 3G with a low signal. The scalable ecosystem. Maybe currently you built the server to handle 100 transactions per second. Now, if your apps get into the ecosystem, can it take 100,000 transactions per second? So how do you scale it? Have you built the technology in a such a way that you have put redundancy in there and then high availability in there? These are all questions that you have to be able to answer. That's why I just didn't want to bore you with a lot of slides and a lot of details. I've just broken it down into these areas. If you're able to answer the question of what user problem you are solving, is it an inclusive design? I remember when I was in University of Ghana, one of our courses was human computer interactions. HCI, what that course will teach you technology and all those things. How Godfred was mentioning something about how their technology is looking at people with disabilities, like blind people, people with hearing, and all those things. That's a very accessibility feature that ensures inclusiveness, right? So these are some of the areas I think when you can answer the question in, you have a winning solution. Please, do you have any more questions? You can speak. You don't have to raise your hand because I can't see the hands. Okay, no question. All right. So Kwame, this will go into detail with more of the question that you asked, right? So if users don't trust you, they will never adopt you. A technology that wins is a technology that must have the trust of people. Now, I am supposed to talk on the fintech and then the digital money ecosystem space, and I just took some few statistics, right? Now, when you look at fraud cases alone, the payment services platforms, they recorded more than 24,000 issues in 2025, and now currently in 2026 is even worse. And now when you look at the value that is at risk, when it comes to fraud in those payment services industry, it is more than 37 million Ghana cedis year on year. So it keeps growing. So if your technology is going to build trust, it means that security must be inculcated in there. And then here I'm asking just two questions. The platform that you are building, what happens if money reaches the wrong person? Or if a document reaches the wrong person, or if a message reaches the wrong person? How do you detect and stop fraud before it hits the user? Those are some of the questions that you should be asking yourself. If your platform is a platform for social, communication and all those things, how would you detect and stop fraud before it happens? When it comes to privacy, the question you should be asking yourself now, what data do you really need? For instance, if your sign up page is collecting something like the height of the person, the length of the ears of the person, the color of the eye of the person, and all those things, do you really need that data to be able to provide that service for the person? Could you explain your data collection to a grandmother in one sentence? For instance, if you approach someone, I wanted to speak to you, but I realized that we have foreigners here. So let me speak English so that everyone can understand. If you approach an old man in the village and then you're asking them that, oh, I have this application. When you want to sign up, do A, B, C, and D. Type this, type this, type that. Are you able to explain in one sentence the type of data you are collecting from and why you need that data? Now, you have to look at the technology risks. Now, the technology risks you have to look at is what is your worst failure? You have to be able to do scenarios or play scenarios or stress test your application. When you are doing development, they will normally tell you that integrity testing. I've forgotten all the technical jargons, but then you have to stress test your solution in different scenarios for you to see how your solution will play. For instance, if your main API that you are using to build your app right now, if it should go down, or if it should collapse, if it is not on-prem, if you are using a cloud service, all those things, if your cloud service does not have any redundancy or dual redundancy, what will happen? If the internet connection to your service and what goes wrong, what will happen? And what happens when the network drops or a partner API cancel, like I'm saying? Now, when it comes to trust, right? A winning design pattern is always about verify, confirm, prove, and recover. So if you want people to
Hello,
trust
Mr.
you,
Elijah.
yeah,
Apologies to cut in. So
yeah.
not all the contestants or not all the teams have IT background. We have people from biology, economics, political science, philosophy.
Interesting. Okay. And so all
Yes.
these people, let me just understand. So all these people are building or bringing solutions that are going to help in the fintech space. Is that the case?
Fintech is one of the domains. There are several
Okay.
domains that they can prefer solutions to, but ultimately it
Mm,
should support communication.
communication. Okay, good. I mean, I can trickle it down. So for instance,
Please do. So that they don't run
when
away.
yeah, when you are looking at, let's say, political science, or in the field of political science, right? Um, in politics, one of the things that you need to understand is that you need to be able to communicate, and you need to be able to buy the trust of people. If you are going to communicate and buy the trust of people, one of the things that you need to be able to know is that you have to have integrity. Now, for you to have integrity, it means that you have to have a history. The history that you have going to have, it has to be proven. Can they verify your history? Can they confirm your history? Is there evidence to it? Can they prove it? And when they come and ask you, can you retrieve it from wherever it is? That's where the winning design pattern is when it comes to technology. So the question that you should ask yourself with whatever solution that you are bringing, right? What is the worst thing that can happen to your user of that solution? The problem that you are trying to solve, that you think you have a solution for it. If the user should use that solution, what is the worst thing that will happen? Then you can think from there with your design. Are there any questions on this slide? Can I move to the next slide? Just interrupt me. I can't see the screen. I can't see any hands raised. Okay, no questions. Now let's trickle down to designing for Ghanaians. Sometimes, as I told you earlier, when you are building an ecosystem, or when you are building any solution, or when you are coming out with ideas, you normally focus on the ideal market. Like you focus on the US market, you focus on the European market and all those things, because these economies are matured. They have the basics and then the standards to be able to do certain things. But in here in Africa, we don't have that. So you have to be able to build your solution when it comes to product and service design. Build for people and don't build for technology. Most mistakes, or if you check most of the apps and then the solutions that have come, that they were trying, in fact, even in the human psychology space, right? When you are dealing with someone who has bipolar in Ghana, it is different from dealing with someone who has bipolar in the United States, because the environments are different, the conditions are different, the medications that you might need are even different, and what might have contributed to their situations are even different. So you really need to understand the people, not just technology. Normally, I tell the national service people who come and work under me that when they give you a problem, don't jump to technology. Jump to the solution first. Then now look for a technology that will make your solution work. So for design instance, when you are designing any product or service, think about the literacy rate we have in Ghana. Think about rural users. Urbanization is growing in Ghana, but in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast, we don't have up to the half of that 32 million population of Ghanaians. Now, Ghanaians, we are more than 32 million. Africa is more than 1.8 billion, and most of them are in the rural areas, and connectivity in the rural areas is bad. The road network is bad, social amenities is bad. You have to think about all these things. Persons with disability is a big issue. Local languages is a big issue. When you take Ghana alone, we have more than 1,000 local languages. Elderly users is a big deal. Even though our Africa is a very youthful population, but then elderly users are a big deal. You have to think about low data and then low data feature phones. Now, when you take Ghana, for instance, a study was done by one app, and then they realized that 46% of users prefer that can. And this was a study done by a savings app where they were trying to find which language would get them an easier adoption. So for you to be able to get your user journey right when it comes to building a product for the people, you have to discover, I've written it there, understand what it does or understand what you want your technology to do. Right? Understand what you want your technology to do. Then now on that same technology, the user journey, they should understand what it does, the technology does. They should understand how quickly they can onboard with help if need be. And they should understand how to complete a task, even on weak data. And then they should understand how they can verify if their task was successful. And then they should understand how they can get problems resolved. It will amaze you to know that I work in MTN. The call center will never leave. Human beings speaking calls will never leave Ghana. If they will even leave Ghana, it will take about 20 years. Well, you'll be thinking in your mind, there is AI, I can build an agentic AI that will respond to customers and all those things. There are certain words or phrases that when a customer speaks to an AI agent, the AI agent will not be able to interpret it. In fact, one of the big questions that you have to ask yourself when you are developing a technology in Africa is that if the internet drops for 5 minutes, can your user still finish the task? Whatever solution that anybody in any field is bringing, without the internet, can your solution survive? That's a big question that you should ask yourself. Yeah, if you guys remember when the undersea cable issue happened in the West Africa, most people couldn't browse the internet. Only a few people or only few countries were able to browse to YouTube and be able to get Google resources. Now, the reason why this was being that people had access to this thing is because the need was recognized years ago that we should build Google caches in Africa. So if you realize when the undersea cable cut happened, even Google websites and pages were opening. But then you can't get broader content outside the content that has been cached. So your solution that you are developing, can some of the data sit on the phone or the device? Can some of the processing happen on the device, not the internet? So that when the internet is down, the user can still have access to all this. These are questions that you have to ask yourself. Now, this is real world issues that you have to deal with when your app is successful after you have answered all those questions. Reliability, I've already spoken about. Network, we know in Africa we have issues with power cuts. Our brothers and sisters in Nigeria can tell you how bad it is. Now, you know, if your solution is a solution that people have to do an activity, can the retries happen without double charging them? How you handle partner API failures, I've already mentioned that. How you handle availability, I've already mentioned that. With scalability, I've already mentioned it. How can you grow from 100 users to 10,000 users? If 10,000 users should sign up today, when people start telling people that your app is good, will your servers crash? How will you skew heavy work? How will you monitor the service, the backups, and then the rollback? These are all questions that you have to answer. Now, when you are becoming big, then now issues of regulation will come in, where you have to deal with Data Protection Commission, the Cybersecurity Authority, the BOG, and other stuff. Now, the question that you have to ask yourself when it comes to your app surviving in the real world after the design and the development and everything is, who could stop your solution from going live tomorrow? That stakeholder should already be part of your plan. So for instance, if you know your technology has to deal with data, or the solution that you are providing has to do with the collection of data, it means one of the people that can stop your products from going live is Data Protection Commission. If it has to do with payment, then you know BOG can cause you trouble. If it has to do with frequencies and network and all those things, then you know NCA can cause you big issues. If it has to do with cybersecurity, then you know Cybersecurity Authority will have issues with you. Those are the questions that you are supposed to ask yourself. Now, when it comes to the ecosystem, right? The ecosystem is broad. Now, here, the key thing I want you to understand is that every great solution integrates. It is not isolated. So if you are going to build any solution that is going to stick, then it means that you have to build on the existing ecosystem of the country. So in the financial ecosystem, the identity ecosystem, for instance, the Ghana card, the NIA database and all that. So you don't need to go and develop your own database and your own card and all those things. You have to leverage on these current ecosystems. The public service, the ministries, the MMDs, the hospitals, the schools, and they have to leverage on other partners. So the winning architecture, you have to think about partnership, integration, piloting it, validating it, and scaling it. So the question is that which existing role could you integrate before demo day, and who do you need to call? You need to look at that one too, so that when it comes to the point of integration, you are not struggling. Then finally, I think these are the 5 questions that everybody should be able to answer, and that's what I'm going to leave with you, and then we are going to continue having a conversation about it. The conversation that we're going to have, I want you guys to come up with 2 technologies that you know about, not necessarily your technology, or 2 solutions that you know about, and then we are going to run it through these questions. Who is the user? What painful problem are you trying to solve? Why would they trust your solution? How will you scale it? And who will help you deploy it? So this is the end of my presentation. I told you I just have 5 slides. I don't have plenty slides to bore you. So that's the end of the presentation. I'll take questions and then we'll move on to the demonstration, and then we can answer some few questions and we can leave. So are there any questions? Yeah, Godfrey, go ahead.
Yes, awesome presentation, sir. I really learned a lot. So my question is around who can stop your project. So if you realize that the NCA and the BOG can be able to stop your project, how then do you position yourself during this hackathon period so that you'll be able to have like futuristic plans and other things to be able to put in place in case you win or you still want to continue the idea, you'll be able to collaborate with them?
Awesome. So remember I mentioned that even from the initial stages, right, you should as I mentioned, if you're making a payment services or a payment system, right, the first thing you should know is that who controls payment services is BOG. So you need to understand all the regulations that comes around. So when it comes for payment services, you need to look at the Payment Services Act. You need to look at the Securities and Exchanges Commission Act. You need to look at the Ghana Deposits Commission. They have Secure Deposit Commission. You have to look at the Electronic Transactions Bill. There are a lot of regulations. So this is what our in the real world, right, or in the practical world, what we do is that any company or any system that you are trying to set up, you need to be able to determine the compliance or the regulatory universe. So based on what you are developing, the solution that you want to provide, and then the technology you want to use to solve that problem or to give that solution, sit down and ask yourself, what is the compliance universe? For instance, when you are using data, you have to look at the Data Protection Act of Ghana. If your system is going to take data from Europe, then it means you have to look at GDPR. If your system is going to use credit cards or something, then you have to look at PCI DSS. If your system is going to use, let's say, your system is going to require is a cybersecurity tool. It means you need to look at the Cybersecurity Authority Act. Then you need to look at NCA regulations and all those as I've mentioned. If your solution, since we have people who are doing solutions in the social sector, if your solution will require, let's say, you engaging minors and teenagers and all those things, it means you need to talk to Ministry of Gender and Child Protection, DOCSU and all those things, so that when you are doing your people are funny. You think you are good to go, and in this country you might think that regulations don't work, but you'll be good to go till you get into trouble and you get into problem, and then there will be legal and regulatory challenges. So these are some of the things that you have to think about. I don't know if I answered your question, Godfred. So think about it from the beginning.
Yes,
you have your problem, you have your solution, you have the technology that you want to use. Now, the solution and the technology, what are the compliance universe and the regulations around them? What laws are applicable to them? Then what are the requirements in those laws that I need to meet for me to be able to launch my product or my solution? And then make sure you fix all those things in the product and solution before you even go to development. All right. Any other questions from anyone? No questions from anyone. So you guys are saying you understood whatever I said. Okay. Since you understood, okay, yeah, Kwabena, go ahead.
Yeah, so given what you are saying, it means we would have to pursue all these issues regarding legal compliance issues and various compliance issues with agencies, all during the period in which we are building the hackathon.
Okay, so let me stop you there. You see, when you check the progression of the slides that I presented, I looked at the design, the use case, the technology before I came to regulation. This exercise that you guys are doing, you have a problem, you have a solution for it. The idea here is that your solution is not live yet. Kobna, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, please.
So your solution is not live yet. Now you are bringing your solution for vetting so that we can say that your solution is good to go. I'm just saying that even before you bring your solution for vetting, even though it is not live yet, consider these regulatory things so that in your presentation or in your submission, you can say that even though we have developed this and this and this, we know that in future, if we are going to go live, we need to get this certificate from this ministry or get this compliance with this law and all those things for us to be able to penetrate this market. Now, one of the things that you need to know or you need to appreciate is that all these big companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, and all the rest, they have serious lawyers that work for them to make sure that they comply with the laws and rules and regulations of the countries that they are operating in. Don't think that because you have internet connection, you have bought a server on a cloud somewhere, you have deployed a solution, you can get into a country and start working. That is how come you can see that some countries can block Facebook, they can block YouTube, they can do all those things because they can say that you don't abide by our regulations. I think recently UK passed the law where if you are not above a certain age, you can't use YouTube, you can't use social media apps. So for instance, if you know you are building an app that you require a certain age group to use it, and then the countries that you want to scale up to or expand to, they don't accept such apps, what will you do about it? What are the other ways and means you can go about it? So you have to think about all that in your solution. That's why I like these processes, because I know most of you just think about problem, solution, technology. Some of you even do technology, solution, problem, but they don't know the intricacies that come with it in the real world. That's how come a lot of startups fail. So, Kobna, have I answered your question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions, please? Do we have any questions? Okay, I don't see any hands up. So, I want us to do an exercise, right? I want one of you to suggest an already existing solution that you think it is doing a lot in the world, and then we can break it down and then understand why they did what they did and why they provided that technology to with that solution to solve the problem. I like to mention it. Okay, yeah, Kwate, Elliot. Kwate, yeah, Elliot, go ahead.
So let's say you've already built your solution and you abided by the laws before, but like you see, as time moves on, like things update. So maybe they've made a new law. So can you like argue that because you didn't like yours was done before, like let's say the products you did, the digital solution you did before was following the previous one, so the update doesn't like say, do you get what I'm saying?
It doesn't apply to you. That's what you are
Not
saying.
necessarily, but
That if let's say they pass the law today, and then your solution already was there, and then the law now defeats your solution, can you say that your solution doesn't need to abide by the law because it predates the law? Is that what you are saying, or is that a question you're asking, please?
yeah, something along that line.
Okay, so let me tell you the gospel truth. You can never go above regulation. That's how come even today, and the future to come, Facebook, Nvidia, and all the rest, they will still be subject to government scrutiny. They will still be going to Senate hearings. Because the truth of the matter is that when a regulation is set, it means that you need to build now your solution around the new regulation. So let me give you a critical example, a clear example. MTN Ghana, right? A lot of you know us as one of the biggest telcos in Ghana. When the previous government was in session, Nanado's government, they brought a new law saying that declaring MTN Ghana as an SMP. Now, SMP means that we are a significant market player. So because we are a significant market player, the government banned us from launching certain products and services. But then your competitors can launch those products and services because the government wants those competitors, that's Vodafone and AT, to show up their sales. Elliot, are you following me so far before I continue?
Yes, please.
Yes. So now when they launch that SMP, MTN, you have to ask yourself two questions. Because of SMP, do you want to lose your customers? Two, because of SMP, do you want to lose your revenue and then the traction that you have with people? No. So now what do? Now you look at the SMP regulation that they have passed, look at your current ecosystem, and then now look at products and services that you can freely and then comfortably execute that will not impact you breaching the law and then they taking you to court and then you paying fines. So for instance, the social media apps that have been banned in the UK that now you have to be 16 years for you to use them. If you enter them, the social media apps now will tell you that take a picture of your ID card for them to verify the ID card so that they will know that you can use them. So they are abiding by the law, but then they are not breaching it. And then their app is still in the country. For instance, Bank of Ghana can get up right now and say that nobody should keep more than 100,000 Ghana cedis on their mobile money wallet. Does that mean that MTN mobile money should now say that they will not do mobile money again? No. What they would rather do is that you have to create platforms where you see that if your account has more than 100,000 cedis in by the end of the day, we'll move the remaining 100,000 cedis into a trust account. And then in that trust account, in the morning when you do any transaction, you need more, we move the money back. They have closed that gap. So in the corporate world, what actually happens is that every year, every serious corporate institutions look at the compliance universe and the regulation universe, and then look at the gaps and then the loopholes that they have in their ecosystem, and then try and find solutions to close them. So when you come to corporate governance, after you have established your company and all those things, you have all that structure, the board, the committees and all those things. Their work is help you to close the gaps. And then now when you are budgeting for the future and all those things, those are the actions that you take. Elliot, have I answered your question?
Yes, please, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. You are welcome. Any more questions from anyone? Any more questions? Okay, since there are no questions, I said someone should suggest a big company and then tell me, or an existing solution, and then tell me what problem that they solve, and then we will discuss it. Who wants to go? The ladies are not speaking. Okay, if the ladies are not speaking, the gentleman who has any solution or any product or any technology that they think it is changing the world, and then we can discuss it.
Online banking.
Okay, we have online banking as one. Yes, Kwabena.
Yeah, large language models.
Large language models. Okay, so online banking and then large language models. Okay, Mohammed.
Yeah, mobile money service.
Okay, Momo. Okay. All right. I've put it in the chat, right? So now, let's discuss online banking. Who can tell me why online banking came about? Okay, social media, Sarah, good. So who can tell me why online banking came about? There should be a why. Who wants to volunteer? Mohammed, I still see your hand up. Okay, yeah, Olami, sorry, can I shorten your name? I
Yeah,
don't want to
Ola.
make a mistake with it. Yeah, Ola,
Yeah,
please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's to, like, for example, sometimes if I want to, like, send money, like some banks close like after 5 p.m. or once it's 5 p.m. they close, and I probably want to like make a deposit or withdraw money. I can't withdraw money past 5 p.m. I can't send money to somebody past 5 p.m. So I can just do that on my phone with online banking instead of having to go to the bank and deposit money for them to send.
Good. You have actually now mentioned the gap that online banking is trying to close. Online banking is trying to close the gap where physical banks close after 5.
Yeah.
So you see, when the solution is that you need to look at what the gap they are trying to close. The gap is a problem. Do you guys agree? You can do a thumbs up if you agree with the fact that the online banking system was trying to close the gap of physical banks closing. Good. Now, what other solution or what other problem is online banking trying to fix? There should be more. Who wants to go? Yes, Johnson.
Okay, so I think Ghana here, some of the banks, usually when you go there, there are queues there. So when you have the online bank, instead of sending just money to someone, you won't just go to the bank and join the queue. You can do that on your phone instead of going there to do that. Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, Johnson has brought an interesting concept, right? But he's not telling me why the online banking is solving that problem. Who thinks who knows the problem that this queue thing was trying to solve? The person can unmute and speak.
To save time.
Exactly. Good. It is about time saving, efficient use of time. And then long waiting period. So long waiting period is all about savings of time. Johnson, do you understand? Hello,
Yes, I
Johnson.
understand.
So you see the problem, the problem is there. The solution is there. The solution is solving something fundamental. You have to look at the cracks because Time is important to everybody. So if your solution can help me save time, I'll definitely hop onto it. If your solution, because if I go to work and I close at 5, and then my work I have to be there all the time till 5 o'clock, what time will I get to go to the bank? And if my break period is 1 hour, and then I have to leave I have only 1 hour lunch break, what time will I get to go to the bank and then go and stand in the queue for more than 1 hour? So Benedicta, the long waiting periods at the teller is bad and the congestion in banks is bad, but then what? You are saving time. Yeah, Kwabena, go ahead.
I think reach. So there are certain banks that may not have branches in areas that are quite remote. And so people would have to move or travel long distances in order to get access to banking services. So online banking kind of removes that pain of having to travel and waste resources just to make a bank transaction.
Good. Now, Kobna, what do you think that you have mentioned it, right? But then I want you to just say it in simple terms, what problem this was trying to fix. You see the way we broke down when Ola said, what did Ola even talk about? The closing after 5. So it was what? To help you do transactions after 5. And then Johnson said, to long waiting periods and all those. And then the problem they were trying to fix was time. Now, this one that you just mentioned, what is the one in one single word? What problem do you think they were trying to fix?
Money.
I wouldn't say money because they can borrow money and then take it from someone in the future or tomorrow and pay back.
Okay.
Yeah, Ola, you have your
I
hand
think
raised.
to save cost or transportation.
Yes, to save cost on transportation is part, but then you need money to take money. I'm being hard on you guys. Don't worry, you'll be fine. In future, you will thank me. Yeah, Kwabena, go ahead.
Accessibility.
Good. And when you break down the accessibility, one of the things that they were trying to do was that to bring the bank to the people, or bring the bank to the convenience of your home. So now that 20 kilometers or 10 kilometers that I have to walk to the bank, now in the convenience of your home, you have a bank. So what have they done? They have shortened the distance and brought convenience, which what Covenant says accessibility. Are you guys wrapping your head around the solutions that these technologies are bringing and why people will keep using them to the end of the days? So whatever problem or whatever technology that you are building, think in one word. In one word, can you say the problem that your technology is trying to solve or your solution is trying to solve? Now, we have spoken about the problem. We have spoken about the solution. Now, I want you to talk to me about the technologies that are being used to solve to deliver online banking. Who will go first? The technologies behind online banking, and then why you think they use that technology. Yeah, Ola, I saw you unmute your mic. Go ahead.
Mobile phone.
Okay, they use the mobile phone. They use the internet. Why do you think they use the mobile phone and then the internet?
Because that's kind of what everybody uses now. That's what people are. That's what they use to access people quickly. Or people are.
Good. So Ola, let me ask you a question. Which came first? Did online banking come before mobile phones, or mobile phones came before online banking? And then which came first? Did the internet come before online banking and mobile phones, or mobile phones came first, internet came, then online banking came?
Yeah, I think
Which one do you think is right?
mobile phones came, then internet, and then the online banking so that you could use both. So,
Awesome. Now, I'm going to use this to explain the concept of scalability. Now, you see, when technologies are being built, sometimes a technology will come and then you can find that you can put another solution on that technology to deliver a service. And then now that service that you are delivering, you can put another technology on it to deliver another service. So that's what you should also think about when you are bringing any solution to solve a problem. That solution that you are bringing, can other technologies be built upon it? For instance, when mobile money started, it was just send and receive money, withdrawal and all those things. But now you can do savings. Now you can do insurance. Now you can do investment. So you realize that one solution or one technology can lead to multiple or chain reactions. And that is how come organizations like Google and then YouTube have still been able to survive up to this point. What did they do? They started a search engine, collected a lot of data. Then now they decided to build models that can help you index. Now, when they decided to build models that can help you index, then they decided to venture into different technologies using the data. So browsing, then they went into YouTube. Even YouTube now you can monetize it, using it for art and all those kind of things. So you should be thinking in that direction too when it comes to scalability in future and monetization. Because truth be told, no matter what solution that you have built, if it is not bringing money, you will suffer. Guys, you understand? So,
Yes, sir.
so that is the main thing. The technology came and then they decided to bring online banking to sit on that technology to deliver a service. Good. So that's the technology of online marketing, internet and then mobile phones. Then it helped. Now, Kobna, large language models. What do you think what do you think this technology was trying to solve? Or what was the problem of this what was the problem this technology was trying to solve? Sorry.
Okay. So large language models, they are a sub technology under artificial intelligence. So
Okay.
the whole concept of having large language models came about as a result of the attempt to teach machines to, understand human language and process it. So various technologies were introduced even before the large language models. And currently the large language models they thrive on a particular kind of architecture referred to as the transform architecture. So they've been built upon various layers of technology that were, meant to help machines understand human language. And now they have the capacity to, understand, process, and even generate human-like, thoughts, as well as do certain tasks that require computations and all that.
Okay, so I want someone else to just answer this question for me. What did the developers of large language models have in mind based on everything that Kobna has said when they started the process to build a large language model? Because you see, when Kobna was talking, he's talking about how they had an end in mind, and then they build different technologies to get to this point, and now they have more output out of this. Okay, to automate customer service, but what will be what is automation? It's one word. He mentioned it. Or let me say it is one word made up of two letters. One word made up is one word, but it's just made up of two letters. And we all use it. There's even one here taking my notes. AI Benedicta, good. So it means when Technology has a progression and it has an end. You can't just start it without having an aim and an end and to solve a problem. As Kwabena stated, that they wanted technology to be able to give out human responses or relatable human responses. So what did they start to do? They started gathering data and teaching machines how to understand human interactions so that they can build AI in future. This is what we call scalability, as I've told you. So what technologies can be built upon the current existing technology that you have? So for instance, you'll be there. I don't know if you heard with how some of these big companies acquire some of the small companies. For instance, YouTube was originally not for Google, but now YouTube is part of the Google ecosystem, and then they bought it from them. WhatsApp was not part of the Meta ecosystem, but what happened? They bought WhatsApp so that they can add it to the Meta ecosystem. The question you should ask yourself with these acquisitions and measures is that, do you think that Meta would have bought WhatsApp if WhatsApp would not easily integrate into their ecosystem and then help them increase their revenue? So then again, the question comes in, the problem you are trying to solve, the technology that you are going to use to try and solve the problem, is that technology scalable for the future? I'm trying to wrap up quickly, so let's go to Momo. I think Momo, we have spoken about it extensively, but then what problem do you think that Momo was trying to solve? I think it was mentioned by Mohammed. Okay, Alex, I hope I got the pronunciation works. Camille Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, it was trying to solve accessibility.
Good. So accessibility. So Momo was just trying to solve that. So you remember that when the
And
first
convenience.
Okay, convenience, good. So you realize that when the first Momo advert came out, what did they do? Mensa account. Then they said, my son that is in Accra has been able to send me money in the village.
Exactly.
And that is what you see. One of the things that you can never take from any product is that if the product has that human touch, and then even the lowest person in the community can relate to that product, your product will sell. So I don't want you to be worried about the technologies, the what development approach I will use, what methodology I will use. What is the practical solution? And then when you write down the practical solution, you will be able to come up with the technology that you should use that will help your practical solution be delivered and then in future be scalable. So please, do you understand what I've said so far? Okay, so to confirm that you guys were following me, we have about 10 minutes to finish. I don't want to take much of your time. To confirm that you guys heard me and then you listened very well and attentively, I'm going to need every one of you to unmute to tell me one of your key takeaways from this. So on the screen, I'm seeing Alex first. So Alex, Camille, Alex, what is your key takeaway from this session today? We'll wait for you. So whoever delays us, please blame the person.
So in this, I took, a lot of lessons that what we're about to build must, provide accessibility, convenience, and a lot.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Mohammed.
Hello, sir.
Yes, so I want to hear what's your key takeaway from this session.
This session, it's about, like, just as the first slide said, it's not really about building the app. It's about the problem that it's trying to solve. And in solving the problem, how is it going to be scalable? How is it going to be accessible? And how is it going to function? How is it going to function considering all other factors?
Awesome. Ola, what is your take?
We should stop building apps and start solving problems, and user problems that includes like trust and security and scalable ecosystems.
All right, awesome. Yeah, go for it.
Yes, sir. I really learned a lot about the regulations that as we are building, we should keep in mind of the regulators who can put our businesses to a stop so that we can have plans in place in order to be able to bring them onto the table.
Awesome. Elliot.
I learned that if the app is not making any money or revenue, people are not going to patronize it.
Hey, Elliot, I didn't say your app will start making money first, though. You should solve a problem first, and then you will start making money. Okay. All right. So, Mauli, what was your key takeaway?
Yes, so my key takeaway is that we should make sure that compliance and regulation is not an afterthought whilst building the applications. We should make sure that we have a clear-cut path as to how various regulatory issues could be handled when our app is live and having traffic.
All right, awesome. Enchi Samuel.
Yeah, so I learned that as we are building solutions, we should look at the problem first. Look at the problem that we are trying to solve. So we start from building the problem before we even think about the technology that we use. We shouldn't look at having a technology first before we think of the problem that we are solving. Thank
All right, Brian Opoku. Brian. Okay, no response from Brian. Anna Bosumche.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Anna.
So the key thing is that we should stop building apps, but we should start solving problems. And we should take into consideration the problem, the inclusive design, the trust and security, operational reality, scalability of ecosystems. And also, when we are developing a solution to a problem, we should consider those who can stop us. And we are not about any regulation.
All right, awesome. Good studies, Anna. Collins.
Okay, so what I learned was when you identify a problem, then you should go to the solutions first before thinking about the technology.
That's good. Johnson.
Okay, so my takeaway here is to say we should clearly define the user problem, and then we should also design for trust, and also we should consider the security risks before focusing on technology.
All right, awesome. Benedicta, I see your takeaway in the chat. That's good. Okay, Victor, yeah. Victor, can we hear your takeaway? Okay, if Victor is not responding, is it Shay or Shy? Which is where? Okay, no response from Shay or Shy. All right.
Shay.
Okay, Shay. So what is your key takeaway?
All right, I learned about the users accessibility of what products you are and what products you are building to the market, and also we should consider the technologies we are going to use, and then the regulatory systems governing the whole system you are building. Let's assuming the Ghana.
Awesome. Okay. So I think I'm done.